Some relationship looks perfect online until the breakup hits the internet. And once that happens, everything changes. Because now it's no longer just a private matter. It becomes a public entertainment. Screenshots comes out. A marriage that once looked strong is now being dragged across social media like a courtroom drama. That is exactly what happened with these two stories. One involves Ugo and Jessica. The other involves Frank Edoho and Sandra. The reason both stories have had people talking is simple. They both expose the same painful reality, that sometimes what looks like love online is already falling apart behind closed doors. Let's start with Ugo, because this one really shook people. At first, Ugo and Jessica looks like one of those couples that's made it. Big engagements, lavish wedding, baby on the way, soft life pictures, happy captions. Everything looks beautiful from the outside. Ugo, a UK-based Nigerian tech entrepreneur, seemed proud of the life he was building with his wife. He reportedly paid for her relocation to the UK. He reportedly covered her school fees. He was allegedly handling bills, family expense, and all the things that comes with building a life abroad. And even after childbirth, he reportedly bought her a car as push gift. As we all know, Nigerian women, they don't joke with their push gift. From the outside, it looked like a man who was doing everything he could for his family. But then everything turned. According to Ugo, he discovered that Jessica was cheating on him, and not just cheating in some vague way. He alleged that she was involved with another man while living in the house he was paying for in the UK. The allegation alone was enough to set the internet on fire. But what really made the story explode was the way he responded. He did not keep quiet. He did not handle it privately. He went online angry. I mean, very angry. One of the statements that spread everywhere was basically him saying that while he was in London working himself to death and paying her school fees in pounds, she was in his house sleeping with another man. That line hit the internet hard. And from that moment, the story was no longer just about marriage. It became a full-blown online war. Some people immediately felt sorry for him. To them, this was the classic story of a man who sacrificed everything for a woman and still got betrayed. Others, though, were not rushing to judgment. They wanted proof. They wanted receipts. They wanted more than emotions and viral posts. Then came the divorce confirmation. Ugo later made it public that the divorce has been finalized in the UK court, even sharing screenshots from HM court and tribunal service. According to his version of events, the outcome favored him heavily. Jessica reportedly returns to Nigeria. Their child reportedly remained with him in the UK. He also claimed that the car he was paying for was repossessed. I mean, the car he got for her as a push gift. At that point, the internet went into full damage control mode. Some men celebrated him like he won a war. Some people turned it into a lesson about loyalty. Others turned it into a gender argument. And as usual, Nigerian social media did not waste any time. Memes started flying. Hot takes started multiplying. And people began repeating the same lines over and over. She lost everything. He dodged a bullet. This is why men don't trust women. This is why marriage is risky. But then Jessica's side entered the picture. And that is where the story got even messier. Because Jessica completely denied cheating. According to her camp, the allegations were false. Her lawyers reportedly demanded that Ugo retract the statement, delete the post, apologize publicly, and pay a huge sum for defamation, emotional stress, and harassment. And that changed the conversation again, because now people were asking real questions. Where is the actual proof? Was Ugo exposing the truth, or was he trying to destroy her publicly before she could tell her own side? That is the thing with social media. Once a story goes viral, everybody starts adding their own version. And before long, nobody knows what really happened anymore. Then there was the other angle people kept talking about: the relocation, the sacrifice, the dependency. The fact that this was a diaspora marriage built partly on financial support and migration promises. That opened up another bigger conversation. If someone sacrificed so much financially for a relationship, does that automatically guarantee loyalty? Because clearly a lot of people online do not think so. And right in the middle of all that noise, another story started trending with the same kind of energy: Frank Edoho. And this one hits differently because Frank is not just anybody. He's a veteran Nigerian TV host, the face of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Nigeria. A man people saw as calm, polished, and always in control. So when his personal life started trending, people paid attention immediately. Frank's second marriage was to Sandra, and for years, from the outside, it looked stable. Traditional wedding, 2 children, more than a decade together. A quiet public image that made it seem like they had figured marriage out. But behind that image, things were reportedly breaking down long before the public knew. Because by 2025 into 2026, the relationship was already said to be over privately. Frank later revealed that he had actually been separated for nearly 2 years. So, while people online thought everything was fine, the marriage had already been collapsed behind the scene. Then came the allegations. That was when the internet really went wild. Rumors of infidelity started flying. Leaked audios began circulating. And then the name CHIKE entered the conversation. Once that happened, the whole thing turned into a social media battlefield. People started dissecting every post, every clip, every line, every reaction. Suddenly, this was no longer just about separation. It was now about betrayal, denial, counter accusation, and a story everyone wanted to interpret in their own favor. From Frank's side, the picture he painted was that he had tried to handle everything privately. According to his version, he allegedly discovered infidelity involving Sandra and CHIKE. In case you don't know who CHIKE is, he's a musician known for his songs about relationship and love.
It be like you go dey tender, you go dey tender, you go dey tender. If I start to dey hug, you dey put temper.
He claims it happened more than once, even within the home. He also reportedly said there had been an initial apology and an attempt to reconcile, but according to him, he did not stop, and trust was broken. The marriage was damaged, and eventually things reached the point of no return. He also claimed that accusations were later made against him, including abuse, domestic violence, and that those allegations threatened his reputation and career. From his side, the message was clear. He stayed quiet until his name started getting damaged. And then there is Sandra's side. Sandra did not accept his narrative at all. She denied being reduced to a cheating wife in the story. Instead, she pushed back hard. She accused Frank of serial infidelity. She suggested there had been emotional and physical abuse. She claimed there was financial struggle in the marriage. She also said she had carried more responsibility than people think. In her version, she was not a woman who ruined the marriage. She was a woman who endured for years and eventually walked away. She reportedly said she chose herself, and according to her, she has receipts, videos, audios, proofs. Now you have two stories, two versions, two people insisting they are telling the truth. And of course, the internet did what it always does. It split in half. Some people support Frank. They see him as a man who tried to keep things private, tried to reconcile, and was eventually betrayed. Others support Sandra. They believe she's exposing a larger pattern of cheating, pain, and emotional damage. Then there are the people who are just tired. Because at this point, social media has turned relationship failure into a daily show. Every few weeks, it is another cheating allegation, another public breakup, another leaked message, another gender war. And people are beginning to ask some questions over and over. Why can't couple just separate privately? Because that is the real tragedy in all of this. Not just the allegations, not just the online fight, not even the public embarrassment. It is the fact that once a relationship reaches this level of public collapse, there is usually no clean ending anymore. There is only damage control. And in both of these stories, that damage is not just being felt by the adults. There are children involved in this too, which makes the whole thing even more painful. At the end of the day, both stories reveal the same thing, that private pain now lives on the internet, that marriage can turn into content, that accusation travels faster than truth, and once social media gets involved, peace becomes almost impossible. Ugo says he was betrayed after sacrificing everything. Jessica says she is being defamed and never cheated. Frank says he tried to handle things privately until his name was attacked. Sandra says she has endured too much and chose herself. And the internet has already chose its side. But the bigger question is not just who is right. The bigger question is what all of this says about modern relationship, loyalty, sacrifice, relocation marriage, and the kind of public humiliation that comes when love starts breaking apart in an age of social media. Because once a marriage becomes a public war, everybody loses something. And sometimes, by the time the truth comes out, the damage is already done. I decided to try something new, breaking down the stories that has been making waves online. If you like more of this kind of content, hit the subscribe button. Bye and stay tuned for more.